Okay, we're on Sheviit, Perek Tet, Mishnah Aleph. First Mishnah in the 9th chapter of Sheviit. In order to understand this Mishnah, we have to understand a little bit about commerce and what was and was not permitted in the times of the Mishnah. So it says the Mishnah, in times of the Mishnah, what is not permitted regarding commerce. So we have learned that if I sold, let's say I had extra oranges and I sold them. So what we learned was when I sold the oranges remain Kedushat Sheviit, but the money also remains Kedushat Sheviit. The money that I used, that I received when I sold the oranges of Sheviit now has Kedushat Sheviit as well. So that Kedushat Sheviit, that money has restrictions to it. The Rambam says, this is Rambam Hilchot Shemitah v'Yovel, okay, Perek Chet, and we're going to be in Halacha Yud. It says the Rambam, Halacha Yud. Kishem she'asur lasot schara beperot Sheviit. Just like I can't do business with perot Sheviit, I can sell small amounts, but I can't make them my business. Oli shmor otam, or to guard them. Kach asur li kach otam me'am haaretz. I can't buy them from an am haaretz. Why? Because what's going to happen if the am haaretz sells me Sheviit? Now he has these oranges, and I give him the money. So what does the money become? Remember, the oranges are Kedushat Sheviit. I bought them with money from Kedushat Sheviit. But the fisha ein mosrin, then the money that he gets in exchange is also has Kedushat Sheviit. So therefore, I can't buy them from an am haaretz. Why? The fisha ein mosrin demei Sheviit la am haaretz. I can't give the money of Sheviit to an am haaretz. Va'afilu koshu, any amount. Shema lo yochal otam b'kedushat Sheviit. Okay, maybe lo yochal otam, he's not going to treat it with Kedushat Sheviit. He's going to go buy a shaver or whatever. And remember, he has to treat it with Kedushat Sheviit, and he's an am haaretz. So therefore, we're concerned that it's not going to be treated appropriately. Okay, in light of that, but there's a Braita. Okay, that's based on a Braita in Masechet Sukkah Daf Lamed Tet Amud Aleph. And we're going to see though that there are some qualifications to this rule, and that is the background. This prohibition of buying Kedushat Sheviit from an am haaretz is the basis for the beginning of our Mishnah. Says the Mishnah. Okay, but the Mishnah says, though, there are certain things that I can buy from an am haaretz. I can buy from any person. Why? Because they are not considered things that are nishmar, that are guarded. There are certain kind of produce that are not considered normal produce, and they're hefker, and therefore I can buy a small amount from an haaretz of these things. Therefore, I don't have to worry that they're from his storehouse or things that people guard, and therefore, even on Sheviit, I can buy them from an am haaretz. So, what are these things? Says the Mishnah: Hapegam, v'hayarbuzin hashotim, v'achal gelogit, kuzbar shebaharim. Kuzbar you might recognize, coriander. V'akarpas shebenaharot, and river karpas, celery. V'hagarger shel afar. All of these things, what are they? I have the English on my other screen, so I'll just read it to you. Okay, Pegam is rue, and Yarbuzin Hashotim are goose foot. So you make sure I don't know what that is. V'chal gelilgit, purslane. Okay, Kuzbar Shabarim, hill coriander, that we said. Karpas shebenaharot, water parsley. Garger shel afar are meadow berries. All of them are p'turim min ha'ma'asor. They're hefker. Okay, these are things that grow out in the fields on their own, and they're hefker. Therefore, nilkachim mikol adam b'shviit, and I can buy them from any person on Sheviit. Why? She'en kayotze be'em nishmar. Okay, because they're not guarded. These are things that are not guarded. They're not things that people keep in their storehouses. They're not things that I would take into my house. So therefore, I don't have to worry that the am haaretz came and he's selling me from the shamur. He's selling me from prohibited storehouses that he's not allowed to do on Sheviit. Let's look at the Bartanura for a second. Nilkachim mikol adam b'shviit. Okay, and I can buy them from any person. The fisha ain't derech l'shamram. Okay, because people don't guard them. They don't put them away. They don't store them. Anything that a person would store, oranges, potatoes, then I can't buy them from an haaretz. Why? Because we're concerned that the am haaretz is going to put them in his storehouse and not make them hefker. And I'm allowed to buy min hameshumar afilu k'chatzi isur. Okay, and the Mishnah says, "V'chol hanich dematitin." All of these listed in the Mishnah, shechescham she'ein mishamim otam. That is a chazaka that I don't guard them. Mutar dekach mehem la'am haaretz. I can buy an haaretz kedei mazon shalosh seudot bilvad. Only 3 seudot worth and not more. Why? Because remember we said she'ein must mean to make perot Sheviit. This is our introduction. You can't give the money of perot Sheviit to an am haaretz. Even though alpha bisha perot min hafker, there's 2 problems. one problem is the problem of, am I buying something that he kept in his house, that he stored? The second thing is, can I give him money from Kedushat Sheviit? So on these produce, the root, the gusfut, the water parsley, etc., I'm not worried that he got it from his storage house. He collected them in the fields. So he solved that problem. But what about my giving him to make Kedushat Sheviit? So therefore the Bartenura says, I can give him mazon shalush seudot v'lo yoter. 3 seudot worth and not more. Why? Because if I give him more than 3 seudot worth, he's going to save the money. And he won't treat them with the proper respect. He'll go buy a shaver, he'll go buy a wheelbarrow, whatever. If I only give him a small amount, then he'll go use them for his food, and that's permitted. So we're not concerned with that amount. Okay. There's a second half of the Mishnah. The second half of the Mishnah deals with what's called svichim. Svichim are produce that grow on their own. So we're going to go according to the simple understanding. We're talking about svichim here that grew during Sheviit. Let's just assume it's svichim that grew in Sheviit, and the Chachamim made a gzeira. Chachamim made a decree that normally you would say it grew on its own. Nobody planted it, so why can't I eat it? The problem was Chachamim realized, so let's say, peas grew on their own. So now people could go and pick the peas. Then all the Amarit said, you can pick peas. They planted peas and they would sell it because it's svichim. Chachamim said, no problem, no way. We're going to have a gzeira on svichim. Just so you know, this is much more complicated than it sounds, because there's a huge machloket in the Tanaim, are svichim asur midorabanan or midoraita. I'm not going to get into it. We'll assume that here we're talking about, according to the opinion that svichim asur midorabanan, that's the basis of this Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda says, svichei chadal mutarim. But svichei chadal, mustard seed that grew on its own is mutar. Why? Shalom nechshedu alehem ovrei aveira. Because ovrei aveira, they were not chashud that they would bring it from shamur, that they would plant or bring from storehouses of mustard, because the mustard grew wild and everybody could get mustard, I guess. Rabbi Shimon says, no. Kol ha-svichim mutarim chutz mi-svichei kruv. All the svichim are permitted. Chachamim did make a gzeira on any svichim other than svichei kruv, other than cabbage. She'en kayotzei be'em b'yerakot hasadeh. Because svichei kruv, there was no other vegetables in the field, i.e. it was planted in gardens and what have you, and there was no wild svichim, there was no wild svichei kruv, there was no wild cabbage that grew on its own, so for sure it must have been grown. The Chachamim said, no, kol ha-svichim asur. Any sviach is asur, and that all of those were considered coming from the gardens, and therefore you can't buy any svichim from an Amaretz where he's selling them, because you have to assume that he grew them. We'll stop here. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to contact me at arspoter@gmail.com. We'll dedicate the learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a great day.